XRP has never been in a better position. It's at the end of an extremely long wedge. A breakout from here could easily take us to new all-time highs, because the last time we broke out from a descending wedge, we actually pumped 34,000%. Add this to the fact that the team over at Ripple has made some major announcements surrounding the introduction of their stablecoin, which is going to service major institutional players, as well as introducing tech stacks for asset tokenization, one that players like BlackRock are investing heavily into. As you can see here, $16 trillion is what's projected to happen in terms of the asset tokenization world by 2030. Yes, Ripple is building out the technology for that. And we're talking tokenized mortgages, consumer loans, microloans, enhancing capital flows for small and medium-sized enterprises, improved inefficiencies in carbon credit trading. Then another major bullish piece of news, as Ripple seems to be getting closer and closer to that October 6th date, where the SEC runs out of time to appeal the $125 million settlement. They're only 16 days left. So things are looking really bullish. So as we draw near to the end of this very long, drawn out summer lull, and markets are now perking up for the very first time with this very beautiful upside down McDonald's shaped pattern, or what we call in investing and trading a double bottom, Bitcoin looks ready to explode, which will create for the environment for XRP to do the same as well. So not only will we be covering how Ripple could change the financial landscape over the next few years, but how the XRP token is perfectly positioned to take advantage of that. We will also cover what BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, and Ray Dalio, the founder of the world's largest hedge fund, think is coming for markets, and in many ways how they both agree about what's to come in the future and how that's going to impact the world of crypto. And of course, we'll be covering the price action and the future outlook for XRP. So we have some exciting times ahead of us. If you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the richest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Before we dive in, a quick reminder that the opinions in this video are for informational and educational purposes only and do not constitute financial, legal, or investment advice. All investments, including cryptos, carry risks and potential losses. Always do your own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor. We are not licensed financial advisors, and relying on our content for financial decisions is at your own risk. By watching this video, you agree we are not responsible for any losses or damages, and we do not guarantee any specific results or outcomes. Some of the links below may be affiliate links, and we may earn a commission, which actually helps support this channel and helps us to create value-based videos like this. We also hold some positions in the cryptocurrencies that we talk about, but that's only because we do what we believe in. However, this should not be interpreted as a recommendation for you to do the same. With that said, let's get into the video. Now, I think we're just going to dive into the Ray Dalio piece first, because it sets the stage for the rest of this video and why what we're talking about is so important, and more importantly, how it's going to affect XRP, right? Ray Dalio says the Fed has a tough balancing act as the economy faces an enormous amount of debt. And for some of you folks who've been in crypto long enough, maybe you're already starting to see the vein that we're treading along. It's the fact that the US government and arguably all fiat currency nations have far too much debt, and eventually the buyers of that debt are gonna run out. Here's a photo of Ray Dalio. And in this article, here's what he shares. So he said he was generally interested in the enormous amounts of debt that is being created by governments and monetized by central banks. Those magnitudes have never existed in his lifetime. In other words, while the economy is in relative equilibrium, Dalio noted that there's an enormous amount of debt that needs to be rolled over and also sold, and new debt is created by the government. Now, this creates a major issue considering we're over $35 trillion of debt, and we're starting to look more and more like Japan, which had a period of time called the lost decades, which we'll cover here in a sec. I think as time goes on, the path will be increasingly toward monetizing that debt, following a path very similar to Japan. pointing to how the Asian nation has kept interest rates artificially low, which has depreciated the Japanese yen and also lowered the value of Japanese bonds. This led to stagflation and the lost decades. Now, what exactly are those? Well, the lost decades are a lengthy period of economic stagflation in Japan precipitated by the asset price bubble's collapse beginning in 1990. And as you can see here, we're going through something similar ourselves. The singular term lost decade originally referred to the 90s, but in the 2000s and the 2010s have been included by commentators as the phenomenon continued. So Japan failed to continue to grow over those periods of time. And there are a lot of economic analysts that are also saying that the next decade for the United States is also going to be a lost decade due to the high amounts of debt that we have. And by this point, I think everyone knows BlackRock is extremely bullish on Bitcoin, considering that BlackRock reveals it's quietly preparing for a $35 trillion Federal Reserve dollar crisis, with Bitcoin predicted to spark a sudden price boom. In other words, the majority of investors and governments even worldwide will turn to Bitcoin as we consistently see our debt grow and grow to unsustainable levels, leading to a situation where countries like the US are not necessarily great countries to invest in anymore. And the only sovereign currency that is now accepted worldwide as a store of value or a hedge against inflation would be Bitcoin. Now, the reason that is so big for XRP is because XRP typically follows the price of Bitcoin. In a weak or a negative economic environment where Bitcoin is performing poorly, XRP typically performs poorly as well. However, if trillions of dollars are flowing into the crypto asset class as a whole, Bitcoin, then a lot of that money is going to find its way into the XRP token as well. And so in a recent report, BlackRock straight up stated, as the global investment community grapples with rising geopolitical tensions, concerns over the state of U.S. debt and deficits, and increased political instability around the world, Bitcoin may be seen as an increasingly unique diversifier against some of the fiscal, monetary, geopolitical risk factors investors may face elsewhere in their portfolio. It sounds like it is a lifeboat. And this dynamic appears to be also taking a hold in other countries where debt accumulation has been significant. So think about that, right? It's not just the US, which is a very large player. It's countries worldwide that have fiat currencies that are far too inflationary, where the debt continues to rise. And it might feel like people have no way out aside from crypto. And so in their experience with clients to date, it explains a substantial portion of the recent broadening institutional interest in Bitcoin. Guys, this is huge news. Now, if you're going to combine it with the fact that Bitcoin and stablecoins will reshape global monetary policy, then this is even bigger than we thought, considering stablecoins are now going to be a major player worldwide and really open up the doors for crypto to be adopted by the average consumer and just citizen of any nation state. And in this article, it states that there is now an alternative to central bank currency, to the commercial bank currency, to the fiat currency. There is an alternative that authorities are struggling to control, and that is important for monetary policy. So if you can't control it, eventually you have to join it. And in similar fashion, we've had a very hostile SEC. However, they are stating that not only would a Trump victory likely be better for crypto, considering they don't know what's going to happen with a Kamala victory, at the end of the day, the SEC is likely to experience a change in leadership, which could significantly shift the regulatory approach for cryptocurrencies. So in my opinion, and in the opinion of many experts worldwide, it's starting to look more and more like we're going to see a crypto-friendly 2025 and onward. And at the end of the day, crypto and stablecoins are more of a transparent play is that crypto is not all about risk, that it is actually relatively pretty safe. This is especially overlooked because it enhances transparency. I mean, why would a regulator not want to encourage the development of marketplaces where they can have a node in real time and see where the money is moving? So crypto is more transparent. Now, why does this matter for Ripple or XRP? Well, it's the fact that Ripple has already been testing their RLUSD stablecoin, and they're going to have and roll this out to a lot of major institutional partners worldwide over the upcoming month or two. So they expect to have it fully available and in play by the end of the year at latest. But whatever the case may be, we're talking there is a massive institutional demand for stablecoins. Now, when you're using that on the XRPL ledger, and a lot of those money flows are going back and forth, and we could be talking trillions of dollars, at some point in time, a lot of that value is going to find its way into the XRP ecosystem, and XRP is the backbone of that ecosystem. So yes, a lot of that value will find its way into the XRP token as well. And asset tokenization is going to be very front-loaded and heavy on the use of stablecoins. So as they develop this use case for asset tokenization technology, well, guess what? They're going to integrate a lot of their stablecoin and XRP on the back end, which will lead to seamless integrations and a lot of value creation. Ultimately, all of these things are extremely bullish for XRP, especially now that we have only about 16 days left until the SEC runs out of time for an appeal. As XRP and Ripple settle, it's likely going to allow for the price to pump to new all-time highs. And apparently this stuff is getting someone excited, especially the whales, considering that whale activity has surged in the last 24 hours. According to sentiment data, whales holding more than $5 million USDT, USDC right now are currently in possession of 55% of the total supply. This is typically a very bullish indicator because it means that they have a lot of cash or capital that they can deploy and dump into the token. And these are people that are already holding XRP, so that's huge. Okay, so it's not like you have to onboard a new believer or a new person. That said, the social dominance is also on the rise and has risen aggressively over the last couple of days. So you can see that we had quite a lull right through here, and then over the past few days, we've really seen a takeoff in the social sentiment, as well as the fact that we've remained relatively higher than we had in previous weeks and months. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so now for the moment we've all been waiting for. What's going to happen with XRP with all of this very bullish news? Well, back here in 2013, all the way up to about 2017, for a period of around 3 years, XRP was in a wedge type pattern with a series of lower highs and then higher lows to a T right here where it started to break out. We did experience some serious volatility. As you can see right here in the pattern, we did not reach the end of this little pinpoint right over here. So that's some good news because maybe we're a little bit impatient right now and we want to see something happen soon. That said, what I do notice that is very interesting and similar this time around is the fact that we had a decent amount of resistance at a consistent horizontal resistance of 0.008 to 0.009. In other words, when we broke above this range right here on the descending wedge, okay, then when we broke above the next major resistance at this red line, things really took off. As you can see, there was quite a bit of selling that first week right here. Okay, then the next week the markets really pumped hard. So getting a break above this wedge is probably a really good or an ideal place to be. But if you wanted to wait for some extra confirmation, wait till the next week. The problem is you might be a little late. Now you can buy on a retrace, but this is the type of move you will already want to be in. Well, in similar fashion, we have a 6.5 year range right here, and we are not to the little pinpoint right over here that would come to around June of 2025. By then, I expect the bull market to either be on its last leg or already done. So that said, we do have the end of the year to look forward to, and in similar fashion, as you can see here, we had quite a bit of sell pressure right here at the 74-cent range, so that would be the range to beat. However, if we break above here, we might see some selling off that first week, but it's highly likely it's going to look similar to this scenario, and so you're already going to want to be accumulating in this range. Now let's dive into like the daily time frame. Okay, so yes, we do want to beat that 60, I would say 62 to 64 cent range, right around here. And then the next major target to beat would be about 74 cents. But if we fly through both of those, it's highly likely we're going to at least $2, if not the previous all-time high, before we see some form of resistance. But because we've been in such a long, strong range, I could thoroughly expect us to at least hit the 1217 range on a fib scale from the local top down to that very local bottom right here. And I'm saying local, I really mean long term. So maybe that all-time high would come in somewhere between $5 to $7.40. Now, the reason I'm saying $5 is because it's an even whole number, and this is something that you call a psychological resistance, okay? Yes, the previous all-time high would be, but again, with such a long, strong range and consistent support where we're seeing higher lows as well through the entire time since 2020, things are looking up and good for XRP. So those would be my first targets. Now, is it possible that we could go to $11 to $14 this cycle? Maybe, but I don't think so. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen this time around. I think if it would happen, it's going to happen in the next cycle. Okay, so let's go down to this daily time frame now. The first thing I want to make a note of is the fact that on a MACD, we have crossed over. As you can see right here, what's really interesting, right around here and here, the MACD crossed for a bearish move, right? The blue line came below the red line, which is the slow moving versus the fast moving. And we actually continued this downtrend, as you can see right here, as the price had some volatility but was trending down. Well, as of recently, we crossed back over the blue line or the fast moving average above the slow moving average right around here. And so this is a good indicator now that this thing has some legs to move to the upside. Generally speaking, we've had more volatility in this short while since July than we've had in quite some time, going back all the way to April. So this is a very positive indicator that this move is likely going to continue to the upside and hit this resistance first and foremost at about 64 cents. Another really bullish indicator is the fact that now we have crossed on that 10 and 20 EMA right here. So the price has consistently supported at that 10 and 20 MA and is consistently seeing wicks on the downside. People are buying each and every single little dip here on September 16th and yet again September 18th. A long wick on the downside is very positive news because it means there's a lot of demand in these zones. And so price consistently getting bought back up. It is not broke out above the 58 cent range as of recently, but if we do, it's highly likely we're going back up to that 64 cent range. That would be our next range of quote unquote resistance, and a real breakout, I would argue, would be above the 75 cent range. That's when things are going to get absolutely nutty with XRP, which means right now the best thing you can be doing is dollar cost averaging and accumulating, because when it does hit $3, the worst thing that you could ever say was, well, man, I was waiting for 51 cents, when in reality you could have been buying at 58 cents, 64 cents, 74 cents, and you would have been screwed by not buying at all, which is why you should head on over to bullrunners.com and subscribe to land on a page like this. Now, what's so beautiful about this page is that it is designed for XRP holders or people who plan to hold XRP through the end of the year to earn crypto, okay, in less than 10 minutes with the #1 play to earn XRP game. You can do it in 3 very simple steps. You get an XRP wallet, you get your game pieces, which we explain exactly how to do in these videos. They're very straightforward, very simple to follow. You play the game to earn crypto. The crypto itself is actually directly convertible for XRP. So you have nothing to lose, everything to gain by simply checking it out. And it's a great way to reduce your volatility in your bag. So let's say the market does go through a little bit of a dump to 51 cents and you're annoyed at yourself that you bought at 58 or 45 cents even for whatever reason. Maybe some black swan event happens and it dumps like crazy and gets bought right back up, right? We've seen those before. Anything can happen in markets. And so the best thing that I could think of doing is reducing my volatility by putting my XRP to work, because as I'm earning that crypto, I can either convert it directly for XRP or I can hold it in its base asset, or right, I can just compound on my XRP bag into the bull run by the end of the year. So go ahead and go to bullrunners.com. Link is in the description below, and you can find out how you can earn up to 1,000 to 2,000 XRP per day. We have people in our community doing it right now. So go ahead and do that. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. And if you enjoyed the video, you learned something new, smash the subscribe button, like the video. It helps the channel out. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video, my friend. Goodbye.